Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Now we start. We've got reading passage, and whenever you start reading passage, start it happily, excitedly. Okay? Yes, because when you start it excitedly, your energy level will be good. I know there are some questions that can drain your brain, right? But you should see how to deal with them and all that. So in today's session, we will solve one complete test, 40 out of 40 questions, and we will see how to deal with them in actual exam. All right? The first thing is you need to read and understand the question. The second thing is question will take you to the passage where there is the answer, and I'll tell you how. I mean, question will be the navigation guide. It will take you to the part of the passage, paragraph, sentence where there is the answer. And then there are certain tricks. I will tell you type A questions, type B questions, where questions and answers are in order, where they are not in order, and all that. So be attentive, and you have to repeat this test at home after me with all 40 questions, okay? Now, title, Bats to the Rescue. Bats, you know bats? You might be thinking it's the cricket bat. No. It's the other one. What do we call bat in Urdu? Chamgadad. Punjabi. Chamchidi? Okay, chamchidi in Punjabi. And then they say how Madagascar's bats are helping to save the rainforest. Bats are helping to save the rainforest. Now it means they will talk about the benefits of bats. They will talk about the advantages, benefits of bats, and how bats are rescuing the rainforest in Madagascar. Have you seen any documentary about rainforest or anything? Yeah, otherwise just imagine a forest where it rains a lot, full of water and all that, okay? Your imagination. Sometimes students say, we cannot concentrate. It's difficult to concentrate Ielts reading. So for them, it is a good idea to visualize whatever you read. And you know, the readers who read books, they always visualize. Whenever you read something, you visualize. So if you visualize, you will understand better. But for visualization, it is important to understand what you read. That's the main problem. Many students can read English, but what they read, they don't understand. Right? Then they say, Kenda kiye? Yeah, then they read again, then they focus. So please remember one thing. There are three types of words which can help you understand the sentences. Number one, verbs, because verb is an action word. So verb will tell you what action is going on in the sentence. Second is noun. And nouns are common nouns, proper nouns. Proper nouns you know very well. It can be the name of a place, person, thing, and all that. And common nouns, usually you know, but if there is anything new, they define that as well. And the third one is adjective. So if you only focus and understand verbs, nouns, and adjectives, you can understand 70% of the passage, okay? And by the way, you don't need to understand 100% passage, because you will not read 100% passage. You will only read, if it is part 1, you will read 13 points or 13 sentences in the passage, and you will be able to find the answer. Now, total sentences can be 150 sentences, 80, 90 sentences, but you are going to read only 13 sentences because there are 13 questions. So let's start. After reading the title and the subtitle and switching on your imagination, you are going to come to this question. Questions 1 to 6, and the question type is true, false, not given. Now, this is very tricky for many students, and true, false, not given may appear in part 1, part 2, part 3, and there are only 3 parts in Ielts reading, okay? So don't say part 4, okay? So I will not be very fast today. I'll go on, and you have to be with me. We will go along together. We'll get along together. Now, in true, false, not given, there is a word or a phrase which is going to decide whether the answer is true, false, or not given. The first thing is, when you read the sentence, you have to find 2 things. Number 1, you have to find a clue word. Number 2, you have to find the word or a phrase which is going to decide whether the answer is going to be true, false, or not given. Okay? So let's see. Question number 1. Many Madagascan forests are being destroyed. Underline many. Many Madagascan forests are being destroyed by attacks from insects. Now listen, if many forests are being destroyed by attacks from insects, answer is true. If not insects, there is some other species of animals, not insects, and many Madagascan forests are being destroyed by them, then it is false. And if many Madagascan forests are being destroyed by human activity, not by insects, even then the answer is false. And if they don't tell us how many Madagascan forests are being destroyed by insects, by human, by any other animals, they don't mention that, then the answer is not given. Got it? So whenever you read the question, you're going to read it like that. Now, let's go on Madagascan forests. And by the way, true, false, not given is type A question. Type A means questions and answers are in order, in a sequence. And usually when they give you 1 to 6 questions, 1 to 5 sentence completion, true, false, not given, usually start searching the answer from the first paragraph. Okay? Now, let's go to first paragraph. Can you see Madagascan forests? Second line. This is what we call location. What do we call it? Location of the answer in the passage. So, if you reach the right location, after reading 1 to 2 sentences, you will find the answer. If you are at the wrong location, this is how Ielts reading goes out of your control. Then you read another paragraph, then you read another passage, another line, and at the end you guess and you go on. Okay? Now we are clear, we are going to look for how many Madagascan forests are being destroyed. And see that I still remember the question. You know how? Because I imagined. I imagined Madagascan forest, I imagined insects, I imagined destruction. So you're imagining, because when you do IELTS reading, there'll be pin drop silence in examination room. So you can just do it on your own, right? Now let's read second line. Madagascar's forests are being converted to agricultural land at a rate of 1% every year. Much of this destruction, much of means many. Much of this destruction is fueled by the cultivation of the country's main staple crop, and that is rice. And a key reason for this destruction is that insect pests are destroying vast quantities of what is grown by local subsistence. So, and a key reason for this destruction, who is destroying it? No. Let's come to third sentence. Much of this destruction is fueled by the cultivation of country's main staple crop, rice. Now, how are they destroying? Because they want to grow rice, so they are cutting the forest and they are growing rice over there. They said much of this destruction is fueled by, much of it is fueled by cultivation. Now, what is insect? Let's read it. And a key reason for this destruction is that insect pests are destroying vast quantities of what is grown by local subsistence farmers. Now, insect pest. What is pest? It's the medicine that kills pesticide, pest and pesticide. So it's not the insects. It's the farmers who are chopping down the Madagascar forest for the purpose of cultivating rice. Okay, so what is the answer? Many Madagascan forests are being destroyed by attacks from insects. No, they use the word insect pests, but they are being destroyed by human activity, and that is cultivation for rice. Hence the answer is false. Right? Just underline that sentence. Question right there, question number 1. When you go back home, practice, read again, even read 10 times. Unless a voice comes from your inside. Acha. You know, sometimes when the power fails, and after some time, after 1 to 2 hours, the power restores, some people shout cheerfully, shukr hai, something like, and some people abuse. Okay, when the power fails, they abuse. When it restores, they abuse. But anyways, so you're not going to abuse. You find the answer and you abuse in the exam. Oh, no, the something like that. Question number 2. Loss of habitat. Now underline loss of habitat. Habitat means place to live, Okay, for animals where they live, that is their habitat. Loss of habitat has badly affected insectivorous bats. Okay, insectivorous bats are the bats that eat insects. Loss of habitat has badly affected insectivorous bats in Madagascar. Now listen, loss of habitat has badly affected the bats. Loss of habitat means now bats don't have place to live, and that has actually affected insectivorous bats in Madagascar. Insectivorous means bats that eat different type of insects. Now we go back. Exactly, third last line. Okay, see that? Now questions and answers are in sequence. Third last line. The result is devastating habitat. Clue word is habitat and the other one. The result is devastating habitat and biodiversity loss on the island. But not all species are suffering. Okay, let's read on. In fact, some of the island's insectivorous bats are currently thriving. Thriving means they are struggling to exist. And this has important implications for farmers and conservationists alike. So, the bats, are they suffering from it? No, they are not suffering from it. Come back to the questions. Loss of habitat has badly affected insectivorous bats. Has it affected insectivorous bats? No, it is not. Please come back. Let's read again. Some of the island's insectivorous bats are currently thriving. Currently thriving means they are still living happily and it has not affected them. Currently thriving means they are not being affected. So, question number 2, loss of habitat has badly affected. No, they are currently thriving. It's the opposite. Hence, the answer is false. Let's go on. Question number 3, Ricardo Rocha. Now, what is this? Clue word. Ricardo Rocha. Names are the best clue words. Sometimes numbers are the best clue words. So, Ricardo Rocha has carried out studies of bats in different parts of the world. Just underline different parts of the world. That's it. Now, look here. If he's done the research in one city, one part of the world, answer will be false. If they say he's done this study in Asia, Europe, America, and Australia, these are different parts of the world, then the answer will be true. And if they don't tell us, they tell us about his study, but they don't tell us whether it was in different parts of the world or same part, then it will be not given. Now look for Ricardo Rocha. Wow. See that? How systematically it's going on? So, Ricardo Rocha. He is passionate. I'm reading second paragraph, first line. He is passionate about conservation and bats. More specifically, he is interested in how bats are responding to human activity and deforestation in particular. Rocha's new study, now be active. Answer is in this sentence. Rocha's new study shows that several species of bats are giving Madagascar's rice farmers a vital pest control service by feasting on plague of insects. Now, have they mentioned anything that this study is related to one area or different areas of the world? No. So the answer is not given. Why not given? Because different parts of the world has not been mentioned. Clear? Again, I'm saying underline the line, the sentence where there is the answer, write question number down there, and then you can practice. Let's go on. Question number 4, habitat modification. Habitat modification means change in place of living. Habitat modification has resulted in indigenous bats in Madagascar becoming useful to farmers. Now, habitat modification, what has it done? Indigenous bats mean the bats that belong to that area. All right? Yeah. So, habitat modification has resulted in indigenous bats in Madagascar becoming useful. Now, listen. If due to habitat modification, bats are becoming useful to farmers, answer is true. If despite habitat modification, bats are not useful, then it is false. And if they don't tell us whether they are useful or useless, then not given. So habitat modification. Look for modification? Okay. All right. Okay, let's just focus this thing. Second paragraph. Please come to the second paragraph. Second paragraph, and we read it from third line. Rocha's new study shows that several species of bats are giving Madagascar's rice farmer a vital pest control service. Now, what is pest control service? Bats are eating the insects or pests. Bats are eating the pests. So what is it? Just read it again. Rocha's new study shows that several species of bats are giving Madagascar's rice farmers a vital pest control service by feasting on plague of insects, and this he believes can ease the financial pressure on farmers to turn forest into field. Now, we are just concerned about habitat modification resulted in indigenous bats Madagascar becoming useful to farmers. So can you see anything related to habitat modification? No. Let's go on to fourth paragraph. Okay. Fourth paragraph, which line? Yeah, we've got habitat modification. Absolutely. Let's read it from the beginning. Co-leading an international team of scientists, Rocha found that several species of indigenous bats are taking advantage of habitat modification to hunt insects swarming above the country's rice field. Absolutely. So the answer is true. Exactly. So the clue word was habitat modification result in indigenous bats of Madagascar becoming useful to farmer. Now, by the way, what is the phrase for becoming useful to farmer? Read it, read it. Hunt insects swarming above the country's rice fields. So when they are eating insects, they are becoming useful to farmers because farmers want these insects to be eaten or controlled and all that. Okay, so the answer is true. Please come back to question number 5. Malagasy mouse-eared bat. It's the name of the bat. So the clue word is Malagasy mouse-eared bat is more common than other indigenous bat species in Madagascar. Now listen, if Malagasy mouse-eared bat is more common than other ones, answer is true. Try to understand. Listen now, listen. Whenever in true, false, not given, they use the word than. T-H-A-N, than. Than means comparison. They compare two things. So if, like they say, Malagasy mouse-eared bat is more common. If this mouse-eared bat is more common than the other one, answer is true. If the other one is more common than the mouse-eared, answer is false. And if they don't tell us which one is more common or less common, then it is not given. So whenever they give you comparative sentence in true, false, not given, this is what you guys need to check. Now let's go back. It's the same fourth paragraph. I'm going to read it from third line. They include Malagasy mouse-eared bat, Major's long-fingered bat, the Malagasy white-bellied free-tailed bat, and Peter's wrinkle-lipped bat. Now, have they given us any comparison that which one is more common or less common? Hence, the answer is not given. Got it? So, whenever they use comparatives, then as compared to this, that, then you have to check. English, please.
Sir, he can tell in other paragraphs.
It is also possible, but as I mentioned, in true, false, not given questions and answers are going to be in the order, so you will just go on like this. Okay. All right, let's go on. Question number 6. Bats may feed on paddy. What is paddy? Rice field. Yeah, the dhan, what we call it. Bats may feed on paddy swarming caterpillars. Now, it means bats can eat paddy swarming caterpillars and grass webworms. Now, if they can eat, listen, when they give 2, And if they say, well, bats can easily eat berry-swarming caterpillars, but they don't like eating grass webworms. If they give two things, one they like to eat, second they don't, answer will be false. Right? If they eat both, answer will be true. And if they don't like both, or if they don't mention whether they like or they feed or not, then it is not given. Now the clue word is berry-swarming caterpillar, and grass webworms. So, very good. Let's read second last paragraph of this page. These winner species are providing a valuable free service to Madagascar as biological pest suppressors, says Rocha. We found that 6 species of bat are preying on rice pests, including the berry-swarming caterpillar and grass webworm. So they are included, hence the answer is true. Got it? And if they mentioned one, not the other one, then it could be false. Good.